What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Debates with Nav on the Right Way Sports Network. I'm your host, Pranav Sriraman. As always, make sure to go follow me on Instagram at SportsWorldDebates. And if you have any thoughts, comments, concerns about anything life-related or sports-related, make sure to go tweet me at SWDTweets1 for if you want my opinion on any sports take that you have. Now, today is going to be a different episode. We're going to talk about a variety of things. It's not just one certain topic. We're going to talk about a variety of things. The most hottest topics in the sports world right now, in any sport, whether that be the MLB, the NFL, or the NBA, we're going to break it all down. And without further ado, let's get right into the show. So we're going to start off with Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball proposed their plan of coming back into play last week, and the plan is it's going to be a 60-game season in about 70 days. And opening day is going to be around July 24th. Spring Training 2.0 or training camp is going to start in July 1st, which is about a week from now. There are going to be 10 teams in the playoffs, and the salary for each player is going to be about 37% of what they should have earned if there was a full season. I just gave you a bunch of facts, and let me make it simpler for you. So the MLB season is going to have 60 games this season in 70 days, meaning it's going to be a much shorter season than what it initially is. It's going to start on July 24th, and there's going to be a training camp from July 1st. So that means that starting July 1st, what would have been spring training is going to start back up, and July 24th is going to be like opening day. So they're just going to quickly get through spring training or summer training, whatever you want to call it, and they're going to go right into play. And the teams I think are going to last through the 60-game season, keep in mind, it's going to be a very short period of time when they play these 60 games, is the team with the most depth, teams with the most star power, the teams with the best experience, and the teams with the best pitching. Pitching is key, because you could rotate hitters in your lineup. That has to do with depth. But pitching is key. You have to have all your pitchers fresh throughout the season. Otherwise, you're not going to make it in the long haul. You need all your pitchers to have their arms fresh and not get injured. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. Let's say the Yankees, Garrett Cole, suffers an injury. That is devastating. We know they have depth, but that is devastating to their title odds. Pitchers need to be at their best, and they need to be 100% healthy if a team really wants to compete this season. Because keep in mind, they're going to have an increased workload in a shorter span of days, no additional rest days in a sense, so they need to keep their arms fresh. And the teams I think are the favorites to win this season, just going right into it, are the New York Yankees are my favorite to win the World Series, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I've said this before on multiple occasions. When the Los Angeles Dodgers acquired Mookie Betts from the Red Sox, they lost any excuse of missing the World Series, much less missing the World Series, but they have no excuse not to win the World Series. They made 2 straight World Series appearances, and they lost both times. One time it was to the cheating Astros in 7 games, but the other time it was to the Red Sox and Mookie Betts. This time they have no excuse, adding an MVP caliber player to a team that has the reigning National League MVP. They have a solid pitching rotation with former Cy Young winners, a young up-and-coming star in Walker Buehler. They have no excuse to miss the World Series, and they have no excuse not to win it all. I don't think they're the favorites to win it all necessarily because I don't trust them in the playoffs, but the excuses for them have run out to not win it all. But the reason I think the Yankees are going to win it all is they have one of the best pitchers in baseball in Garrett Cole. Like Clayton Kershaw is a big name nowadays, but he's not the best pitcher anymore compared to Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole is so much better than Clayton Kershaw because he's in his prime. He just got his big contract. His stuff is absolutely filthy. Curveball, slider, changeup, fastball. He just gun it in right down the plate every single time, and the hitters can't catch up to it. And he's in the middle of his prime, and he's coming off a season where he should have won the Cy Young, and he finished second place in the AL Cy Young running. With all that being said, they have the best pitcher in baseball, or one of, if you're talking about Jacob deGrom in the National League side of it. But they have one of the best pitchers in baseball, and they have one of the heaviest loaded offenses in baseball as well. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, weapons all over the lineup. The Yankees also have no excuse to make it out of the American League. So those are my two favorites to meet each other in the World Series. But the Yankees are probably going to be the favorites to win it all because I don't trust the Dodgers in the playoffs. It's just that simple. I don't trust the Dodgers to get it done in the playoffs. They let me down multiple times, and you just can't trust them. They folded every time they were supposed to be the favorites. It's almost like the Dallas Cowboys or the Houston Rockets of the MLB. They fail to show up when you want them most. And moving on, we're going to move on to the NFL. So in the NFL, Jets safety Jamal Adams requested a trade earlier this week. And I know Greg Williams has said he has Jamal Adams back, yada, whatever. What's the best destination for Jamal Adams in a trade? He has a list of teams he wants to be traded to. One of my Chiefs are one of those teams, and obviously I'd love to have Jamal Adams. But is that really the best fit for Jamal Adams? No, it's not. And the team I'm going to say, I just mentioned it a couple minutes ago, it's the team he wants to go to the most. It's the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys would honestly be a great fit for Jamal Adams. They're missing extra safety help. They lost Byron Jones at cornerback earlier this season, so their defensive backs has an issue already, and their defense is much depleted from coming off of last season and the season before. They were one of the top defenses in the league, but they've severely depleted after multiple free agents have left. Multiple guys have just had contract disputes, and Jamal Adams would be a great fit in Dallas because he wants to be there. That's someone who wants to be there. Another great fit I think would be for Jamal Adams is a place like, he has Baltimore on his list, and if he goes to Baltimore, that'll just secure their safety trio, whatever, because they'd be absolutely loaded. But the team that needs Jamal Adams, necessarily fit-wise, the Ravens would be a great fit because he has an easy responsibility. But the team that needs him the most, the Dallas Cowboys need him a lot. Chiefs need him a lot. A lot of teams require the needs of Jamal Adams. The Seahawks need him a lot. But the team that'd be the best fit is obviously Baltimore because, that'd be the easiest job for Jamal Adams necessarily in a night-in, night-out basis. He'd have the easiest task out of any team he'd go to because they have a top 2 defense already. But the best fit emotionally and from a culture perspective would be the Dallas Cowboys. But a lot of teams require the services of Jamal Adams, but the best fit necessarily team-wise for Jamal Adams as a football player would be the Baltimore Ravens since he would have the easiest responsibility. And moving on, the NFL canceled their Hall of Fame game. And the Hall of Fame game, it's a preseason game, but it causes concern for if there's ever going to be an NFL season this upcoming year. And the reason I think they're going to start a season. Don't get me wrong. I think they're going to start a season. I don't think there's going to be a preseason. I think they're going to start a season, but I'm so concerned that they're not going to be able to finish a season, and here's why. Unlike the MLB, unlike the NBA and the MLB are not heavy contact sports. The NFL is. The NFL is a high contact sport. And although the players are necessarily not going to be very impacted if they get the virus, it's not about them. Ezekiel Elliott tested positive for the virus the other day, and he just said it's not about him. He has to keep his family safe. It's about the people around them, and that's what makes it such a concern. These athletes are probably some of the healthiest people in the world based off their exercise, based on their diet. They're probably the healthiest people in the world, but you have to realize it's not really about them. It's about the people who they're playing for, their family. And although I would love to have a full NFL season, it just seems very unrealistic at this point based on the fact that it's the biggest contact sport. There's already cases going on in the NFL, and it's going to be the hardest to contain. If one player on the field has the virus, one play, one snap can change everything. One player spreads it to the other, spreads it to the other, spreads it to the other. The NFL is not like the NBA or the MLB where it can be easily contained because everyone's always in contact with one another. So I think they're going to start off a season. They're going to try to get as many games in through. But at the end of the day, I think they're not going to finish the season. This is going to be a shortened season. It's not going to be finished. There's going to be no champion. And although that sucks because I'm a Chiefs fan, I want to go back to back. I don't think they're going to finish the season just based on the concerns. And there's supposed to be a potential second wave of the coronavirus coming. So with all of that being said, and the heaviest contact sport in America, other than boxing or UFC, I think the NFL is going to start the season, but they're not going to be able to finish it. It's just that simple, just based on everything that goes into the schematics of the NFL. Moving on, we're going to get to the NBA. And there's some things going on in the NBA. First off, Lakers guard Avery Bradley has opted out of playing in the Orlando bubble. And the reason he's doing that is because he wants to be with his family, and I respect that, but how are the Lakers going to necessarily get over this? Avery Bradley is a key part of their team. People do not realize that he is crucial to their success. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire NBA. In the entire NBA, Avery Bradley is one of the best perimeter defenders, especially on point guards or shooting guards, especially on guards who are bigger than him. He defends them at a very high level, and that's going to be such a big loss to kind of necessarily get back from. But how are they going to get back from it? I think they should sign J.R. Smith. Many people have this image of J.R. Smith just because of one play, which he flundered, and it was an awful play. Don't get me wrong. He dribbled out the ball. But that one play doesn't define J.R. Smith as a player. Yes, it's a career stainer because that's what people remember him as. But he's not. That one play doesn't define what he is as a player. He's a combo guard. He could shoot at a high level. He can defend at a high level. And that's exactly what the Lakers need right now. J.R. Smith does things, the exact things Avery Bradley does, and some things he does better than Avery Bradley can. And I think it would be a great fit getting back with LeBron James, his boy, and just the chemistry. J.R. Smith is a great locker room guy. You saw when they traded for him back in Cleveland, J.R. Smith fit immediately into the culture of the Cavs. Immediately was a great fit with LeBron, a great fit with Kyrie, a great fit with Kevin Love. He's just a glue guy that everyone wants on the roster. And they're letting this... I bet he would have had a contract by now. Let me just get this out of the play. I think he would have had a contract by now had people not just been thinking of that one play where he dribbled out the ball in a tie game, thought that he won. But I think he would have had a contract. People are letting this one play define his career, and that shouldn't happen because he's a very quality NBA player. He could provide a lot to a championship contender, and he has before in the past. In 2016, he was a great piece for the Cleveland Cavaliers championship run. Even in 2015, he was also a very solid piece for the Cleveland Cavaliers in their matchup against the Golden State Warriors without Kyrie Irving or Kevin Love. So I think the Lakers should sign J.R. Smith. They shouldn't go out and get Jamal Crawford since he's aging and he won't provide much since he's an isolation player. But J.R. Smith can play off the ball, and I think that's exactly what the Lakers need right now. Someone who could defend, play off the ball, and shoot. That's exactly what the Lakers need right now. Another thing is Denver Nuggets superstar center Nikola Jokic and many others have tested positive for COVID-19, and some people I've talked to are concerned about this. They're concerned that this is going to impact the comeback of the league. And it's going to cause some impact, but the NBA prepared for this. They're expecting this. They're expecting multiple tests to come out positive, and they set out a plan for this. That's why they're not starting the season on today. They're starting the season on July 31st. You're going to get everyone tested, make sure everyone who's playing has tested negative, and anyone who's positive right now has enough time to quarantine themselves and get ready to play when the season actually comes around. That's why they're doing the testing right now. And some players are opting out, and others are still testing positive, and they want to stay in. But the NBA knows that that's going to happen, and they prepared perfectly for it. That's why they're testing it right now, like I just said. And the major part of this is there's been a huge wave of positive coronavirus tests for the Sacramento Kings. And that's kind of concerning. And here's the reason why. When you have so many players on one team testing positive, it it's bound to cause ripple effects, and it probably is a ripple effect because those players are probably hanging out with each other, working out with each other, practicing with each other, sharing the same equipment. They're probably interacting with each other, and that can cause ripple effects within the team. When a whole team gets the virus, that's when cause for concern comes up, not just one individual. Because one individual, like I've said before, you could quarantine one individual like the NFL. But when you get into contact with so many other people, that's when it becomes a problem. Because Jabari Parker, Alex Len, Buddy Hield, all tested positive for the coronavirus. And all from one team, that's very concerning to me. And another thing is, Vince Carter just announced that he has retired. He retired. And people are starting to debate whether or not he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. Now, a couple months ago, I didn't think he deserved to be a Hall of Famer. And here, let me tell you why. I think he should be in Hall of Famer right now. But the reason I thought that is because I looked at his resume, which isn't a very impressive resume. Vince Carter's overrated, but that's a topic for another day. Vince Carter's overrated, but the reason he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame is so many players who are much worse than him are already in the Hall of Fame. That's the only reason I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame for basketball is so much more different than any other sport. Baseball Hall of Fame takes the MLB career. The Football Hall of Fame takes the NFL career. Basketball, you could count international, college. Hell, Luka Doncic, if he retires right now, is going to be in the Hall of Fame. You know why? He won EuroLeague MVP as an 18-year-old. He won the EuroLeague championship as an 18-year-old. That counts towards your Hall of Fame resume. Zion Williamson, if he retires right now, is going to be a Hall of Fame because he won the Wooden Award in college. Things like that. That's how subjective the NBA or Basketball Hall of Fame is. It doesn't take just the NBA career. It takes your entire career as a whole. And there's players that don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame at all that made the Hall of Fame. That's the only reason Vince Carter should be in the Hall of Fame. But if it was in a more exclusive group of players, a more elite group of players, I don't think Vince Carter should be in the Hall of Fame. His resume isn't very impressive. His best accomplishment of his career is making second-team All-NBA. And that was 1 year. He only made it out of the first round once without Tracy McGrady. He made it out of the first round once as the best player on his own team. That's not that impressive to me. Every other time he had further playoff success, he wasn't the best player on his team. He only made it past the first round once as the best player on his own team. So, if it was a more exclusive group of players, I think Vince Carter shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but the fact that everyone basically makes the Basketball Hall of Fame, and it's such a broad category to make, I think Vince Carter should be in. Why shouldn't he? There's players worse than him. If there's players worse than him making it, he deserves to be in there. That concludes this episode. I'm out for now, y'all. Peace.